Hey, what's good? What's good? Welcome back, everyone, to another stream. We are back. I hope you all missed me. Of course, we're on a new stream schedule now, so there wasn't a stream yesterday. There are just streams Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you do want a bit more of me, of course, you can get that in the Discord. But yeah, thank you very much for coming back and joining me for the end of week stream. We are here, we are live, and we have Bitcoin nicely in and around $91,000 to $92,000. We've got Alex in the chat. GM to you, legend. Thank you for joining. Stu, how we doing, mate? Great to see you. We've got Alistair, Yo, and anyone else that's watching. Hello to you. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining. Before we do anything else, please do make sure drop a big like on the stream. Let's get them likes going. Does obviously help out the stream massively, and I would really appreciate it if you could do that. So yeah, please do drop a like, and yeah, that'll help us get nicely on the algorithm, of course, moving into today's stream. Got plenty to go through today, and I'm sure all of you are sat there shaking in anticipation of what is this big trend, Dave? What's the big trend you mentioned in the thumbnail? What's the big trend you mentioned in the title? Now, my friends, do not worry. We are going to be going through that. What is this? CMC 20, Coin Market Cap 20 Index, DTF. Is this just recently gone live or something? I've never saw that before. What is this? Have they just created a ETF style thing? When did this go live? Has this gone live today? No. In the past few days. This is interesting. Where do you even get this? Pancake Swap, Uniswap on Base, MEXC, KCX. Okay, interesting. That's actually really interesting. They basically made an ETF for the top 20. Okay, let's see if we can pull this up on Tradinview. I've not seen this. CMC 20. Coin market cap 20. That's in market cap. Hang on. CMC 20. There it is. Yeah, CMC 20 USDT. Is anyone else saw anything on this? Literally first I've seen of this. Didn't launch too long ago. About 9 days ago. This launched. I haven't seen anything on this. That is very interesting though. Okay, let's move that towards the top, because that is actually pretty cool how they've made a, I don't know what DTF stands for, DEX traded fund, I imagine maybe, but that is fascinating. Pretty cool. Coin market cap, pretty cool. Just stumbled upon that. Crypto Bash, how we doing? Yeah, great to see you. I'm good, Steve. How are you, mate? And Reg, man, mate, you must be buzzing with your ETH position. Did you keep it open? I'm sure you did. Balls of steel. But you must be back to around break even now, mate. So you must be very happy. Hopefully, mate, you get a very nice Christmas present from the market. Oh no, ICT. I have gone completely out of my mind. Nothing new. Yeah, it's open good, close to break even, mate. In retrospect, obviously, lower time frame, you could have had a better entry by 5, 7, 8, maybe even 10%. But obviously, don't beat yourself up about that. Just go on the daily and go, yeah, maybe you could have got in down there if you was a little more patient. But obviously, in the grand scheme of things, when you zoom out, realistically, what is the good places for ETH? And I think it's exactly where I've marked out on the chart, which would put you in nice profit, wouldn't it? Regardless, push up into here would be good for liquidity grab. Obviously, the main SR test would come in and around 3006. So I think all in all, zoom out, you've got nothing really to be sad or complain about at all, I don't think. So yeah, I wish you all the best for this. So That is a nice switch and reversal. Rejman, if only you'd have been using Stonksy, eh? If only you'd have been using Stonksy, you wouldn't have gone in so early. You would have gone in and around here. So that's a lesson for you, my good friend, and anyone else watching. You know, if you are looking to avoid FOMO or entering the market in the wrong times, there is your thing, yo, because obviously Stonksy was red from 3-4, closed at just around 3-2, got into the green for a couple hours, then got out of that as momentum started to go to the downside, back into the red, closed at around 2-8, into the green, and then from the green towards now, which is still riding. So yeah, very, very nice from Stonksy on ETH there. So Rejman, mate, you've got plenty of margin in that trade. You want to put a tiny, tiny fraction of that into coming joining us at Stonksy. And that is obviously 50% off for a final few days. We haven't got long left on this deal. We've got this until basically Cyber Monday ends. So, you know, you've only got today, over the weekend, and Monday. 50% off the annual plan. That takes it down to just under £500. Originally $999, so you get 50% off that. Under £500. Link is in the description for that. I will put it in the chat now, though, for any legends that are watching that want to come and join. You do get full Stonksy access, Discord access, bot access, all that good stuff. I'll stick that in. But yeah, it'd be great for you to come and join us. Let me just pin something in the chat as well, and then we'll get going. For any of you that want to... hang on. Where are we? Yeah. Oh, I haven't added it on there. Hang on. Copy link. For anyone that wants to trade stocks, stocks, gold, or FX, then we are got partnered with Prime XBT for that now as well. So obviously your crypto side of things, you've got BLOFIN, non-KYC, superb exchange. But if you do want to trade gold, if you want to trade stocks, indices, maybe even some FX pairs, we do have a partnership with Prime XBT now. And of course, you know, you can get some nice sign-up bonuses for that. I've just pinned that in the chat, but you'll find that in the description as well for you gold bugs or you stock bugs out there. So yeah, do go and check that out. Rejman's going to look into it. Very nice. No audio. I think it must have just cut out for a slight second. Looking to take profits at 3,250 if it breaks through. Yeah, mate, that would be really nice. I'm new to derivatives and want to know why the lick level on Bitcoin leverage is different as compared to alts. What do you mean? Your liquidation is based on obviously what leverage you're using. So, you know, if you're using 10x leverage, your liquidation will be around about 10% either way. So obviously, depending if you're longing or shorting. But basically, the best way to calculate it is obviously just on the exchange itself. It will tell you the liquidation, but you can learn it off the top of your head. And to do that is basically saying what leverage are you using, and then how many times does that number go into 100. So, for example, using 10x leverage, 10 goes into 110 times. You get roughly, obviously, it'll change slightly for, maybe like taking off some fees when you're opening the trade and stuff like that. But you get roughly 10%, 25x leverage, 25 goes into 104 times. You'll get roughly 4%. Again, either depending if you're longing or shorting, in which direction. Yes, my good man, how are you doing? Great to see you. Good morning. And you access to Dave's assets, yeah, mate, yeah. What is Stonksy Oscillator? The Oscillator, my good friend, is our momentum bar. So I've just pulled it up on chart there. This is a momentum oscillator. It also gives its own indications based on momentum. It gives its own bullish and bearish indications alongside overbought and oversold indications as well. But this is a momentum oscillator. Obviously, Stonksy on screen as you see it. There is loads of different working parts to this. This is the main indicator, but we do have a oscillator to go with it. which of course measures momentum in the market. So that is the two sides to it. I mean, 5% against my position. I don't know what you mean, mate. What do you mean? What do you mean? If your liquidation is 5% away, and you've if you've just entered or whatever, then I'm guessing you're using 20x leverage. Am I right in saying that? I guess I am. I don't know what you mean. You're gonna have to give some more context. You're gonna have to give some more context. What is the actual question? Because you will get the exact same percentage difference for liquidation, no matter what you're using. You know, if you're on 10x leverage, you still get the same percentage distance between your entry and liquidation, whether you're trading Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, whatever. That doesn't change. So there'd be no change in that. You know, you still get the same percentage difference. You know, if you're 10x long on Bitcoin, your liquidation will roughly be a drop of 10% below entry. If you trade in ETH and you're 10x long, again, your liquidation will be roughly 10% below entry. There'll be no change on that. If you're saying it's 5% against your position, I'm guessing you mean your entry, then I'm guessing you are on 20x. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see otherwise why it would be that, unless you're using cross leverage and you've got multiple trades open and they are obviously at different stages of P&L perhaps. If you're using cross, do let me know, because that's a completely different ball game. If you do want to know more about this, you can join Stonksy. Links in the description. And again, you know, 50% off with the code BLACK50 on the annual. So obviously when you come to the website, it's the annual one, this one here, annual, and your code BLACK50 in the description. You put that in at checkout as the discount code, and that'll take 50% off. But if you do have any further questions or anything like that, I can only do so much on this stream, because this stream obviously just isn't about teaching the basics of crypto, you know, crypto 101. This is obviously a market channel, and reviewing the market. But if you do want some extra help, you come and join Stonksy. You can feel free to ask any questions you want in the Discord. It sounds like obviously it'd be very beneficial to yourself, because if you are just starting out in trading, you need to be careful of a lot of things. Alternatively, you can join Crypto Saving Expert. If you are interested in that, I can give you a link to that as well, which has got some courses online. You can also join the Crypto Saving Expert Discord as well. So yeah, do let me know. I got liquidated with 5% against my position on Pepe 10x long. How is that possible? I was on Bybit. Did you have any other positions open at the time? Did you have any other open positions at the time? Was you using cross leverage? You need to give me more context, because I'm just kind of like shooting in the dark, aren't I? You need to give me the full context, like the full context, because really you shouldn't get liquidated of a 5% move if you're 10x long on Pepe. You should get roughly 10%. ICT says, I blew my entire capital, mate. You don't trade anyway, so you're just lying to us. But yeah, that's ETH anyway. Bitcoin, yeah, we're kind of just hanging around on Bitcoin, aren't we? Has Wiz, I don't know if you've seen this, mate. I've only just stumbled across this. I don't know if anyone else has as well. I know a few people have just jumped in, but I went on CoinMarketCap just then, and they have released an index, basically an ETF, but it's called DTF. I'm guessing for DEX traded fund, and it's basically just an ETF of the top 20 coins. Now I'm guessing obviously they've removed USDC and USDT out of there, so I'm guessing it might actually be the top 22. And obviously they've just, because obviously in the top 20 there's USDC, USDT, unless they've just got 18 in there, and I don't know what. I'll have to do some further research into it. But this started trading, I think, 9 days ago. It's the first time I've come across it, but it is very interesting, to be fair. I know obviously on Swissborg and stuff like that, you've got the, what do they call them? They call them the thermal something, or don't they? Anyway, I don't know. But this is really interesting. It's called the CMC20. So yeah, I think we'll see a lot more of these as well. We'll probably see ones for memes, won't they? Where maybe they'll bundle maybe 5 or 10 memes in together. Maybe for others as well. For AI or maybe you'll get like kind of a Bitcoin, Sol, ETH, and maybe BNB one tied in together. I don't know, but I mean the possibilities for that are endless. Wait, hang on, what? You got 2 different things here. You've got one with Ravi and then one Alex Silver. I don't know. I was short on my country's index. It kept getting lower, but your premium went down as well. I added more and I effed up. Well, mate, it's your own fault, innit? 20k down the drain. Oh well. Learn from it. That's all you can do. Cross leverage like Team G. Cross leverage isn't gambling as long as you know how to use it. As long as you know how to use it and you got the understanding of it, you can say that about anything, can't you? You could just use that as a blanket for leverage. You could just say leverage is gambling. If you don't know what you're doing, then it is, yeah. If you know what you're doing and you know how to manage it, then I would say it's not, because you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, then yeah, it is. Cross leverage isn't gambling because it's literally the same as isolated if you know how to manage it. Literally, it just means that if you have obviously spare leverage, spare margin in your account, or you've got multiple positions open, you need to be a bit more wary. But if you're experienced with trading cross, then I wouldn't say it's gambling at all, because you know what you're doing. If you've never traded cross before, you don't know the difference between cross and isolated. That is where obviously the problems come in, and it can get obviously quite nasty pretty quickly if you're too levered up and the market starts to go against you. But yeah, Sol, we are in the green background as well since 133. That is working out very nicely. Sol had a really good push up the other day, didn't it? Quite interestingly, we got a bit of cooling off on these. So as you can see, obviously Sol cooled off a lot. Hype is doing well today, up 3%. That is in the green background as well. XRP showing the exact same pattern as Bitcoin, just very flat and sideways. BNB, same thing, but that is long from 850. So that is in a nice profit as well. You can see Stonksy doing really well on the market. ZEC is pushing down, and as you can see on ZEC now, if we go to the monthly, chart, the monthly chart looks absolutely horrific. Look at that for a candle. That is some big absorption, and you can see it's looking very similar to the one that we got in December 2017 and January 2018. Very similar, large upper wick into, pretty much the same region. So is this kind of the top for ZEC? We'll have to see. Look at that. Back in 20 on that candle as well. I didn't even take notes of that. Went all the way down to $9. But yeah, it's is this the top for ZEC? We'll see, won't we? But that is a horrific monthly candle for sure. How to manage trades when using cross leverage. Like I said, if you want any additional help or additional education in the market, again, you can join Stonksy and ask questions in the Discord. Alternatively, you can join CSE. This isn't a stream for just giving crypto 101 lessons and guidance and education. My suggestion would be you come and join CSE, because there's plenty of courses on here to take you through leverage trading, the basics of trading, other areas of crypto. And this is obviously very cheap. It is, so depending on obviously if you do annual or monthly. Monthly is £100 a month. You get access to everything on the website in terms of courses and the Discord server. Now you can do premium, which you then can obviously have one-to-one calls with our trading experts, who teaches you basically from the ground up, building a system and a strategy for trading. So you do have this as well as an option if you don't obviously want to join Stonksy, if you don't think the indicator would benefit you for whatever reason. If you want just educational and obviously help, then this is probably the one for you. Yeah, you can join this on annual or monthly. What I will do is I will drop a link for this in the chat. I think that should that link in the chat, but basically there it is. If that's not actually as a hyperlink, just obviously just copy that and just paste it on Google and it'll bring you up. But yeah, this is obviously more education based than Stonksy, because Stonksy is an indicator and an oscillator and a Discord server. But if you literally are like, you know, you need teaching the basics of using leverage. Obviously, you're going from the ground up. You can obviously build your strategy and your trading strategy around Stonksy, but in terms of obviously just learning the basics and everything, yeah, you do get access to courses with this, which will teach you about, you know, complete start to finish about trading in terms of leverage, managing positions, obviously how to trade. But you do get obviously the Discord server, which you can ask any question you want in there. Help is always on hand. But if you do want, you know, a bit more help, then you can get the premium, which yeah does have one-to-one calls with our trading expert, which are coaching classes. He also does kind of like open classes in the Discord as well, where anyone can join. But obviously the prime attraction is the one-to-one. So yeah, that is my suggestion for you. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to go out and you're just gonna have to do your own research and, you know, kind of look for yourself. But yeah, there's only really so much I can give on here, because I can't just dedicate the whole stream to teaching the very basics of trading. That's obviously like completely not what this is. Can you teach how to use the Stonksy oscillator? I can, Ravi, yes. Arsenal might be winning the Premier League. It looks so, doesn't it? I really hope they don't, but yeah. I think probably a lot of people are sleeping on Chelsea, you know. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Chelsea. I mean, I don't really care who wins it, Chelsea, City. I don't care as long as Arsenal don't win it. I would just find it insufferable. He is the real magician. He is, yes, the trading coach. He really is good. ICT is having a meltdown in the chat. So, yeah, he's having a complete meltdown in there. Wiz, could you do me a favor while you're in the chat? Could you just get the actual link? I don't want to click this because it'll just bring everything up that I have saved. There's not like there's anything on there or not, but there's probably people's names that have like sent me links and stuff like that on there. So I don't want to do that. But could you just grab the link from the site, which is obviously the link to signing up to CSE, and just drop that in the chat for anyone that is interested in coming to this. Because yeah, you know, monthly, £100 a month, nothing really to get access to them courses and obviously the Discord server. TMG does do town halls, and he's obviously currently running his trading challenge in there as well. So, you know, there's plenty of advantages that I've not even mentioned there yet, you know, such as the TMG challenge and just TMG town halls. But of course, yeah, the premium is obviously where you get now I think it is just the annual, isn't it? Yeah, it's just the annual one where you get the one-to-one trading coaching. So obviously that's 2,400 for the year. But if you actually, obviously once you signed up, if you actually look at how much our trading coach charges individually, if you're not on CSE annual, it's over double. So, you know, the value is obviously joining CSE on the premium, on the annual, if you do want that one-to-one trading coaching and help by him. It's much better value than obviously going and paying for it on your own. So yeah, if you could just drop the link to the actual sign up website, sign up page in the chat, Wiz, if you could. Yeah, there you go. There it is for anyone obviously interested in that. You are having a meltdown, mate. You're having a meltdown right now, right before our eyes. FWOG had a great 24 hours. Would you short it here or too risky? I wouldn't short any memes, I don't think, to be honest, mate. They're too volatile for me to short. I've never really been interested in shorting memes. FWOG, I did have it on here. Where is it? Unless it's gone. Did it go? Oh no, there it is, FWOG. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, FWOG coming back. 40%. It's had an even better day since time since Saturday, and it Turbo. That's one for Wiz. Turbo. That's one I know Wiz used to run through. What else is doing well? I'm gutted about Fartcoin. You know, I really am. I had the sense of it when it was down here. Like, even not just this dip into here. Like, I had the sense of Fartcoin down here. And it's just kind of just got away from me. If it does come back down, I'll be interested in that. But yeah, at the moment, it seems it's got away. SPX is the same. You know, SPX just kind of got away from me. Pengu's not really started to move yet, so I'm interested in Pengu. But yeah, see what happens. See what comes our way. We need some Bitcoin volatility in now. Now, we do obviously have US Open today, but not for a while. They are on half day, so they're only open 4 hours, I think, or 3.5. So we do actually have US market today, but it is only a half day, so they're closing at their lunchtime. So we'll only get a few hours of it. I think it's 4 hours. But so we can still do the poll. So the poll is in the chat. Yeah, Chelsea might catch people off guard. Potentially, mate, yeah. Still holding my ETH bag. Should I switch over to Sol or Sui for better long-term returns? Mate, you know as well as I that I can't give financial advice on this stream. You know, financial advice. I can't give financial advice, so I just think you need to weigh that up for yourself, and just see. I mean, really, you just got to look at it in terms of, like, do you actually, like, what is going to be the difference for you? For instance, if Sol doubled from here, it would take it up to 280. Now, how far in that scenario, the markets would obviously be in a very bullish spell. ETH 2x from here would be 6k, which is obviously never explored there. Sol has only really ever explored 280 for a couple hours on it on when Trump released his meme. So you could really argue that there might actually not be much difference in Sol and ETH. You know, it may be like 10, 20, 30%, but I don't know. It's up to you, mate. What you just have to evaluate what you feel safer holding as well. I would probably, personally, I would probably argue that in terms of, like, people would probably say that Sol maybe gives like faster and higher returns short term, but I think actually over the long term, if you just want peace of mind, yes, ETH hasn't performed very exceptionally well at all, has it? But I would probably say that, like, you can sleep well at night holding ETH. It may irritate you and stuff like that, and yeah, you know, it's not given the greatest returns, has it? Even if you bought the Pico bottom, you only really ended up with a 4x or just over 4x to the top. But you can sleep well at night holding it. Justin recommended it on Tuesday. Didn't take it and look at it. Which one? Turbo or what? Which one? How to use Stonksy oscillator? Yes. Okay. So let me pull the oscillator up. So the oscillator works in a few ways. Obviously, you have the different indications on it, such as the arrows, which show obviously potential points in the market. So, for instance, let's look at this one here, the latest one we got. We got a red arrow here up at the top on Bitcoin, 89k. We then proceeded to drop down to, you know, below 87 towards 86. Bingo, good job on that. If you look obviously for the buy side as well, you know, the green arrow came in here. We did actually drop a couple more K. We then ended up with a nice push up from there, even from this point. Now, this was obviously a very challenging point for Bitcoin, so this was very hard to try and trade as it was. So you can't really knock it down for too much. If you look at a more reasonable one, exactly here, green arrow comes in, Bitcoin gets push up, job done, very nice. Same for here, green arrow comes in, 100k, bang, rally up to 104, job done. Red arrow comes in here, as you can see there, bang, Bitcoin, very strong drop down, job done. Green arrow here, 99k, 100k again, yeah, push back up. This one didn't work out. this one went against it, but as you can see so far, that's really the only one that didn't work out. Here, red arrow catches a 2k drop, job done. Green arrow here, 104, 105k, rally up to 107 initially. If you held it, all the way up to 111, so that was job done and potentially mega job done there. So as you can see, we're just going back through the hourly, and there's nothing to hide. This is exactly me going through. This one didn't really work out, so that is another one, but that's only 2 so far, and we're all the way back to the start of October. This one, another one didn't work out, so yeah, nothing to hide. Obviously, these things, you're not going to get 100% strike rate on it, but as you can see, when we've been through, it's caught the big moves and the big bounces. And yes, it's had 1, 2, 3 ones where it hasn't worked out, but the vast majority of them have. Gives it a nice high hit rate. So that's obviously the arrow side of things. Now, what you'll have from time to time, obviously on the hourly, it's not as common. If we go down to something such as the 5 minute, you will get these little dots coming in. Now, what are these? These show overbought and oversold. So as you can see for the bottom, it shows you some overbought signs. So obviously bottom green dots, overbought, and as you can see, that worked out very, very well, didn't it? If you zoom out, 5 minute, overbought here. Okay, slight more push up from there, not much, couple of $100. Overbought comes in again, and then gradually Bitcoin sells off all the way down here. Fantastic signal from up here. Now again, these aren't too frequent in the market, but what you do get is oversold ones as well. So as you can see here, oversold starts coming in 89.5. Bitcoin drops again a couple of $100 lower, but then nice reversal all the way up towards 103. But then again, you can see here overbought's coming in. Overbought comes in again there, 92, and then again, rolls over. It just kind of takes, as you can see, it just takes its time a little bit afterwards. But again, very, very good on both of them. They don't come in too often. As you can see, the 5 minute is really nice for it. This one didn't particularly actually work out for being oversold. Again, nothing to hide. This was a very, very hard time in the market to trade over these weeks in November. Overbought signal here again. Slight drop down. If you held, all the way drop down, all the way drop down again. So that worked out in some aspect, depending on obviously where you got in. Oversold came in here. Very nice, as you can see there, right towards the bottom. Nice push up back up above 100k. Overbought came in here, 104. Caught the very aggressive drop all the way down before the oversold come in. So that is the 2 separate indications for bullish and bearish, and overbought and oversold. Again, they have these arrows come in here, but the way I like to use the arrows and the overbought and oversold is particularly, lower time frame for the overbought and oversold. If you're interested in using them, the hours, the arrows, I've only really ever used them on the 1 hour because they complement looking at the rest of the indicator quite well. So that is the two features on there. Now, of course, apart from that, you've got momentum. So where I like to use the momentum bar is basically at the extremities. I know SMFC has put some quite good reports out on the Medium page about utilizing the color changes and stuff like that. But me personally, I'm not really much of a scalper. I like to trade the 5 minute chart, which most of the time ends in a day trade rather than scalping, which is good for me. But personally, I like to catch like bigger moves in the market rather than scalping. So I like to look at the extremities, particularly on say the 1 hour, or obviously rolling into the 4 hour, for when momentum is kind of extreme places either side. So as you can see, obviously we had this extreme downtrend here, which was basically just relentless, wasn't it? We did get it down at the bottom here, but in a downtrend, you obviously want to wait for some capitulation. We got the capitulation down here, and the oscillator was at -1. You then again, got the color change. So if you don't just want to wait for kind of -1, because they can take the time, and they also, that on its own doesn't mean a bottom or a top. You then got the color change into pink, which was obviously game on for momentum shifting. You then got obviously into dark green, and then it's just gone up only since then. So that's a really good one. But personally, yeah, I like to utilize them on a higher time frame, looking at the extremities of momentum, upside and downside. You can utilize the color changes if you do want a full run through on that. If you come to the Stonksy website, or if you just go to the Medium page, I'll show you which article covers it best in terms of looking at the color changes and looking at the obviously where to enter and how to read the color changes. It's this one here, Stonksy Oscillator, improving entries, accuracy and exits. This runs through looking at, is it this one actually? No, it's not that one. Hang on. Let me see which one it is. Sorry, this one, how to use the Stonksy Oscillator. So this runs through obviously looking at the color changes here and obviously how to read them in the market and obviously what they mean. So if you do want obviously a more in-depth understanding of how to read it in terms of color changes and not just looking at the features or obviously when it's showing exhaustion in selling or buying momentum, then this is the one for you. So come to the Medium, and it's how to use the Stonksy Oscillator article, and this will obviously run you through reading the color changes and obviously trading alongside the color changes, not just the stuff that I've covered. So yeah, that's definitely worth checking out. And again, you can find that on Medium just by typing in Stonksy, or you can find it on the website, the Medium page. But definitely check out that article if you want to know more about the color changes too. But yeah, I think that's a good run through of the oscillator. So hopefully that benefited. Good afternoon, Barros. How are we doing? Dr. Dave, I have this red spot. I'm wondering if what you would recommend, sir, please. What type of red spot is it? Is it a lagging indicator? No. No. What's the difference between Stonksy and the oscillator? The oscillator is momentum based. So yeah, the oscillator is momentum based. So obviously it measures momentum in the market. Not solely obviously looking at price action. Which has better accuracy and less noise, Stonksy or oscillator? Well, they go hand in hand, really. I mean, I don't think you can just solely trade on momentum, can you? You just can't solely trade on momentum. So they work really nice and complement each other nicely. Personally, what do I use more of? The actual indicator itself over than the oscillator. I would say I use that more than just solely, obviously, looking at the oscillator. I use the actual indicator more than the oscillator, but that's just me. Obviously, other people may find that they use the oscillator more if you really like looking at momentum and obviously how prices moving along, with momentum. But personally, if you're asking which one do I use more, I use the actual indicator more. But yeah, Bitcoin's pushing up quite nicely, isn't it? Bitcoin is pushing up quite nicely, which is giving some nice move up on altcoins. As you can see, altcoins are nicely green today. Pump's having a good push up. Obviously, for those of you in CSE and following TMG's challenge, you will have done very nicely off this. He is long from Pump from down here, I think, in and around 2.7. Let me check. Hang on. This is obviously his challenge that is running in the Discord, the CSE Discord. Let me just check. I can tell you. Sorry, 2.8. 2.8. So yeah, just a bit higher. There. Yeah. So yeah, he's long on that on the challenge, and as you can see, Stonksy caught it very nicely as well from in and around the same area. 2.8. There you go, bang on. TMG X Stonksy doing the business. And yeah, I think obviously we've looked at Pump the other day, hadn't we? I should have gone long on it. I mean, really, you could have long most things, couldn't you? Particularly anything meme related, because they obviously get the hardest bounces back faster. But yeah, doing quite well. How long have you been in crypto for? 5 years. 5 years. Not 5 years full time, but I first bought my first crypto towards the end of 2020. What about yourself? And anyone else, I suppose, that wants to share. Bitcoin nearly 92k, pushing up quite nicely. I think this is a diagonal I'm watching, because obviously this price has been rejecting from this on the way up. I am quite interested to see what happens with price when we approach the yearly open, because I think at that point then we're obviously then testing the lower high. Obviously on the 4 hour, this would kind of be one big lower high that you'd look at. My obviously golden zone is towards 96, 97, but I think it's definitely possible that we, squeeze up, reject from close to the yearly open, and then maybe push down and then come in for some kind of higher low. We didn't get the higher low down here like I was looking for. So, potentially maybe it comes in and around here for a higher low. At some point, obviously, we will pull back because we need to put some market structure in. If you look at, say, the 4 hour, we haven't really had any sort of higher low put in. So at some point, the market will pull back, put in a higher low, and then obviously then we'll go for higher high and full kind of market structure shift. At the moment, no. I mean, it's interesting with these because it's like these came so aggressively. Where would you kind of pinpoint a lower high on here? You've obviously got the high up here, haven't you? The high. Then I would say that's the low there, and then I would say lower high, and then I'd say lower low, and I'd say lower high here. But this sell-off was so fast and aggressive. It's actually quite hard to pinpoint. You'd say, this is a lower high in my opinion. But then this sell-off was just basically just one straight line almost. It's kind of like there's definitely every chance as well when you're looking at it like this, particularly, if you're looking at, say, the 4 hour or the daily, that this is actually just a lower low. And, playing devil's advocate, and maybe is this something around here? Maybe is that another lower high? Potentially, potentially. When you're looking at, say, the 4 hour and stuff, it becomes a lot more complicated because you've got conflicting, views. The hourly looks like Bitcoin is definitely. Oh, look at that. That has just scrolls up. That has scrolls up very fast just then, hasn't it? As we've been looking at it. Wow, look at that. Big squeeze up on Bitcoin. Dave, I may or may not be liking Res. Oh, okay. Mate, that was a big squeeze up then. That was a nice big squeeze up. 92k. I'm thinking kind of 9 towards 93. I think closer to that yearly open, but we're definitely close to tapping that diagonal again, which is kind of in the way. I think we could definitely see some resistance. Do you look at the liquidation heat map and do you think it works? I look at it in terms of like just kind of entertainment based, and just because obviously it looks quite cool. I think it works in some aspect, but I also would say anything that you can see on that, you can just very visibly see on the chart. You can definitely, you can look at this chart and know exactly where liquidity is. It's exactly where I've highlighted. You've got liquidity above here. You've also got liquidity above here, which we're yet to take. Obviously on the 4 hour, you can definitely make this a bit more concise. You've got liquidity above here. You've got liquidity all above these lower highs here. So it just really just depends on if you actually just want something to tell you where liquidity may be, or if you can actually look at a chart and pinpoint it. Personally, I can look at a chart and pinpoint exactly where liquidity is. So really, I only use it as kind of entertainment based, something to obviously look at on stream and maybe tweet out. But I don't look at a heat map and go, right, I'm going to base my whole theory around this, and this is kind of what I'm looking for to get into a trade. Never. So yeah. But if it works for you, it works for you. That would have been a good scalp short opportunity there towards 92.6, wouldn't it? Yeah, as you can see, we've just cleared out this high here. So things are getting quite interesting because we are approaching obviously key areas of liquidity. We've just cleared out that high there, bang, done from on the way down. So that was definitely a liquidity grab on the hourly. Obviously, you've then got this one up next, and then obviously these spikes around the yearly open. But for now, that was definitely a liquidity grab just then. As you can see, we had altcoins give a nice push. ETH up to a new local high there. The highest point in around 9 days, 10 days or so. So, yeah, things reacting quite well in the market. But that was, to me, obviously, at the moment, looking like a liquidity grab. What's this? Yeah, look at that sell-off. Look at that sell-off. Bought more Link, looking really bullish. Mate, Link's always like I always say this, don't I? But I think just Link is like one altcoin that you can really rely on to trade nice and clean in the market, whether that be shorting or longing it. I just think like you're obviously exposed to drawdown because it will move alongside the rest of the market. But if you're wanting something that just trades so cleanly in terms of PA and just like is obviously a relatively safe bet in it because you know kind of it's not suddenly just going to start losing loads of strength in the market. It will just trade nicely between levels and you can obviously predict where it's going to go. You know, it came into this area just bang on, didn't it? That we'd marked out weeks and weeks and weeks prior to this move actually happening. I think it is just so clean. What have we got these doing? MSTR up to 180. Has MSTR bottomed? Look at that. Stonksy's actually going green on it now. Notice how this may actually end up being a lot different to these because MSTR was still in a downtrend during the flicking between red and green here. Whereas there is actually, obviously, when you consider Bitcoin, there's a good chance that MSTR may have bottomed. Coinbase doing some nice work as well. That's up 3%. Circle up 3%. You know, came right into that zone, didn't it? There. Jeremy, this thing is fucked, isn't it? But yeah, definitely like the look of the other three. Martini hates Sailor and MSTR. I don't think he hates him. I think hate's quite a strong word. I think he's more so just very like conservative and obviously like speculative about how they built the business model, which is understandable because obviously if you actually look into the model, and we've done this many times on stream, it's like their whole model is basically built around debt, innit? Like that's how they bought all the Bitcoin, and they basically just have a levy between Bitcoin and MSTR. So their whole model is based around Bitcoin staying bullish and MSTR staying bullish alongside it. That is what their model is, which is obviously quite dangerous for the market because Bitcoin isn't exactly a mature asset. All we have is, 3 to 4 cycles worth of data. And particularly, obviously, during them times of Bitcoin cycles, the stock market has been in bullish trend. I think obviously the concern is what happens if this kind of 15-year streak that the stock market has been on, because basically if you just pull up the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ and stick it on the monthly chart and zoom out, yes, there's been times of pullbacks, but it's basically just been up only since 2009. You know, yes, we've had these pullbacks. We've had quote unquote bear markets. You know, this was definitely a bear market here. This was technically a bear market because of the percentage pullback, but I don't consider 2 months to be a bear market. It's just a very, very aggressive pullback. Again, you know, this was a flash crash. You know, when you actually look at the monthly since 2009, which is a long time now, you know, you're talking 16 years, aren't you? The S&P really has never had a bear market. You know, even if you look at this period, 2,100 down to 1,800. You know, not really a bear market. So this is really the one and only ever bear market that the S&P has had since then. You know, this exactly isn't a bear market again. You know, this was 2 months worth, and that was event catalyzed. This was really the only proper bear market in the past 16 years. And even then, you know, if you actually do the measured move from the top to the bottom, that in itself actually doesn't classify as a bear market because it's not over 30%. So even that, you can't actually classify as a bear market. I would, because obviously we had like an extended period of selling and down price action. But in terms of actually technicals, that's the same. You know, that is the same measured move, apart from obviously it coming 2 months. So I think that's probably the question is, you know, what happens if we actually do get like a couple years of the S&P being in a downtrend and things not just being bullish and up only in glory? What happens to MSTR and Bitcoin then? Because obviously if Bitcoin stops going up and MSTR stops going up, and even, you know, goes down and stays down there for a couple of years, that completely destroys their model of being able to pay back their debt over the next kind of 4, 5, 6 years. Plume RWA approved by SEC. Very nice, very nice. I like your cap. Where can I get that from? You can get it on the CSE store. So again, you know, if you come to the Crypto Saving Expert website and you click merch store, you can get it on there, or you can get it on eBay too. Same thing, Crypto Saving Expert store on eBay. But yeah, you can come to the CSE website, cryptosavingexpert.com, click on merch store, and it's on there. Bitcoin's starting to push back up now. So we're back up to 92.2. So we could have pretty good time in the market today. I'd be interested to see where it gets to when the US market is close to shutting. I think if we can get up towards the yearly open with the US set to shut, I think then that could be obviously the kind of trigger for, okay, let's pull back towards the start of December, put in some market structure higher low, and then kind of go from there for the next 2-3 weeks into December. But I think things are looking good. Things are looking quite rosy. Do make sure, of course, you vote on the poll. Get your likes in as well. I've only got 9 likes, 24 viewers. So, you know, there's a good amount of you that aren't liked. Please do drop a like. It does help out the channel. If you're new, subscribe. And of course, if you're looking to trade crypto today, sign up to BLOFIN. That link is in the description, and I'll put it in the chat. It's non-KYC, fantastic exchange. If you are looking to trade stocks or gold or FX pairs, we are now partnered with Prime XBT, and that link is in the description as well and pinned in the chat. So do go check that out too. Any open positions currently? Yeah, I have longs on Bitcoin and Solana from Friday. So from last Friday down here. I did trim some and I didn't get the chance to add them on. I was looking to add back on to Solana and Bitcoin down here from what I trimmed, but I haven't had that opportunity. So yeah, I'm just kind of holding what I've still got open, and I probably will. My ideal scenario was up here. Depending on how PA evolves today, I may close around the yearly open, or even sooner. But that's all I've got open for now. Yeah, I haven't really added anything. Again, I should have. You know, should have definitely added some pump when TMG did. Should have long Fartcoin based on my own analysis. but I didn't. Yeah, got quite a busy time going on, so yeah. But I think, you know, Bitcoin's showing us some good volatility for sure. The S&P is quite flat, which is no surprise. Got half an hour to go until US Open. Could get a nice squeeze up on Bitcoin here. We could get a very nice squeeze up. The potential is definitely there. The potential is there for sure. Tree Luber. Dave. Is that Mike? I'm guessing. Your name on YouTube, Tree Luber. But just off the message, I'm guessing that's Mike. Am I correct? I don't know, mate. You tell me. I can't tell. I can't tell, but I'm guessing it's Mike. Interested to see what will happen with Bitcoin here. Very interested, actually. But yeah, Pat, I mean, I don't think there's really been much change in terms of the kind of broader altcoin space. Everything is obviously just got some things doing its own thing. Oh, look at that, Wiz! Look at Borg from when we looked at it on Wednesday. That was in and around here, weren't it? Where would it have been? 1, 2, 3 o'clock. 17%. I know Wiz went and bought some actually on stream when we were looking at Borg. Bang! There we go. Borg doing nicely. Mike. I'm guessing it's Mike anyway. If it's not, then hello to you, Tree Luber. But I'm guessing it is Mike. Monad is coming back down a bit. Obviously, this had a great push up from where it put its low on launch. And then, yeah, got a really nice push up, 2x. And then has been coming back down as people take profits, etc. But that has been doing well. And Bitcoin is moving very, very nicely. Very, very nicely indeed. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Can't complain at all. Very good. How's yourself? You all good? It's great to see. We had a good Thanksgiving as well, as I know you are obviously from that side of the pond. How? I am just going to nip to the toilet though, so I will be back in a few minutes. I'll leave you with the Bitcoin chart. Nice developing Bitcoin chart as well. Really nice coil up. And yeah, I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Of course, we've got US Open coming up. And yeah, take the time to sign up to Prime XBT if you want to trade stocks, gold, FX, or if you want to try trading crypto on there. That link is pinned in the chat. You've got the 50% off Stonksy as well. So obviously that is running for the next couple of days through to Cyber Monday. So it is your last couple of days chance to get it 50% off the annual. That is 50% off this plan here, which does get you whole year's access for 50% off. Massive deal. Our biggest one that'll be running. So yeah, do come take advantage, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. Hello, I'm back. Mike is still setting steel here and buying lows. Nice, mate. Ravi says, which AI chatbot do you like to use most? Grok. Grok is the simple answer to that. I only use Grok. I don't use any others. I only use Grok. So, yeah, that's the easy answer to that anyway. But yeah, Bitcoin hanging around here. Interestingly, we've obviously not fell off yet after this liquidity grab. So potentially we are maybe going to go higher. We've got US Open coming at us in 20 minutes. So do make sure it's the final call. Get your vote in on the poll while you can. I will be closing it in a minute. Do make sure you drop a like as well. I've still only got 11 likes. So please do drop a like on it. Now, of course, a lot of you will have seen the title, will have seen the thumbnail, the big trend in Bitcoin. Now, yesterday I was just looking at the returns, and I did notice something on the Bitcoin returns, which is actually quite interesting. So if you actually look at the monthly returns on Bitcoin, what do you notice when you look at it now? Will you say, well, obviously, October was red. This month has been horrific, and it minus 16.7% at the moment. And December. So I was looking at December. And I was looking at obviously the performance of December. It's very mixed, isn't it? Historically very mixed. Last one was red slightly. The one before was plus 12. We then had again another one which was very minimal change. We then had a brutal one in 2021, minus 18. 2020 plus 46. The other two were minus 5, plus 38. And then obviously you're just into a time when Bitcoin was completely different, moved completely different. And these returns obviously don't really mean anything, even probably going back to the 2021, maybe even 2021. Obviously, how Bitcoin was then is not how it is now. So these ones are pretty meaningless when you're looking at obviously how Bitcoin trades now. But it wasn't December I actually noticed. I was looking back through and I noticed something on the chart, which was not on the chart, on this graph, which was that we are moving into December now and we've had 2 red months in a row. We've had October, November as red months. We haven't had 3 red months in a row since 2020, which was April, May, June. Minus 17, minus 15, minus 37. After that, we've had two red months in a row. Obviously we had 2 red months again in 2022, another 2 after that. 2023, we had 2 red months there. 2024, we had none. So far this year, we've had 2 red months in February and March, and then obviously October and November now. But we haven't had 3 red months in a row in 3.5 years. Obviously, before that, we had, another 3 red months in a row at the end of 2021, November, December, and then obviously January here. So that was 3 red months in a row. 2021, again, same as the year before, April, May, June. But we've gone an extended period of time now, for 3.5 years, which is obviously a long time. That's 3.5 years is a very long time to go. We haven't had 3 red months in a row. So either we are going to keep trend and December is going to close green, or we are going to put 3 red months in a row for the first time since mid-2022, which would obviously be, the first time in a long while. But then that would also say, when was the last time we had 4 red months in a row? When was the last time we had 4 Bitcoin red months in a row? Because obviously then that opens the door to say, well, January's got to be green, surely. If October, November, and December are all red, how often do you have 4 red months in a row on Bitcoin? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last time I'm looking at is 2018 here. You can see, obviously, we had 5 red months in a row. Well, actually 6 red months in a row. August, September, October, November, December, and then January 2019. That was 6 red months in a row. That was obviously a very brutal time in the market and a brutal time for Bitcoin, just down only for 6 months, non-stop. But we haven't had 4 red months in a row since then. So obviously 2019, which is obviously, coming to January 2026, is 7 years ago. So it would be 7 years if, in the scenario that December is a red month and then January is also a red month. Now, we can either do, obviously, a few things. December, we may not get this trend again this time around where you get 3 red months in a row. And this may stay, obviously, the last time for, another good while. Or we put 3 red months in a row and then you go, right, we haven't had 4 red months in a row in 7 years, which gives obviously a good high chance that January is going to be green at least. So let me know what you think in the chat and what kind of you think is going to happen there. Bitcoin's now tailing off a bit. That may have actually been quite a good short opportunity there, to be fair, going into US Open. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, you let me know what you think. Do you believe in 4-year cycle theory? Yeah. In some aspects. At the moment, we've got nothing to suggest otherwise, have we? The only thing we've got to suggest otherwise is that this time around we broke all-time high before the halving. We broke all-time high before the halving this time around. Apart from that, everything has kind of gone on as we should. We topped in Q4. Obviously, everyone wanted kind of a pump in November to sell into, but we topped on Bitcoin early October for now, which is obviously still a very long way away. So at the moment, there's nothing to suggest otherwise. For the time being, the Bitcoin top is in, and it may stay like that. Who knows? So yeah, I think for the time, unless it's proven otherwise, the the 4-year cycle theory is intact, because obviously the only thing that would break it is if we put in a new high. Until we put in a new high on Bitcoin, the 4-year cycle theory is alive, and there's nothing to suggest otherwise, apart from just people making stuff up and kind of living in if, buts, and maybes. You know, there's nothing else to suggest it, because you'll have people saying we're in a super cycle, we're in a 5-year cycle, with this, with that. All that was said in 2021. Honestly, all that was said in 2021. Moving into 2022, and what happened? We had a bear market, we had a usual Bitcoin cycle. At the moment, it's looking exactly the same, isn't it? You know, we fell off over 30% from the high, and until Bitcoin puts in a new all-time high, then from that point on, you could say, right, okay, with everything going on with the ETFs, with the institutional demand and control over Bitcoin now as well. Also, just the kind of, no one really talks about the halving anymore, do they? You know, no one really talks about the halving. No one's really bothered. There's no kind of talk of a supply crunch. There's no talk of anything really. The whole narrative around the halving has disappeared for now, and no doubt it will come around again in another year and a half. But yeah, at the moment, there's nothing to suggest otherwise. S&P is clearly in an uptrend, and Bitcoin not performing well. So what will happen to the Bitcoin price if S&P corrects? I would probably say that, yeah, in my eyes, you're correct. The S&P, if the S&P dumped hard, I would definitely say that Bitcoin would go with it, in my eyes anyway. I asked the same question to Martini Guy in his live stream. He said he doesn't believe the 4-year cycle theory and it's all BS. I mean, really, when you look at it, the Bitcoin's halvings have been very, very nicely timed around periods in time when the stock market has performed very well. It's always had that in its corner. So it may, or just be obviously one big coincidence that kind of the halvings have just fell during times of, macro risk on for the markets. It's been very risk on, very bullish, very, times when buying has been rewarded. It may just be, pure coincidence that the halvings have just happened to fall around at times, because it's not like it's happened loads, is it? So it's only the third proper time in it. Obviously, you had the halving midway through around 2013-ish, but obviously even during that time, it's hard to find people that was around during that time. Obviously a lot of people came in 2017, obviously the big one 2020. So really we've only got a very select amount of data. It's not like the S&P where you can go back decades and stuff, is it? So it may just all be, it may just be just one big coincidence that obviously just the halvings have fell during around times when the S&P has been bullish. So yeah, I mean, you can build loads of theories, can't you? I mean, no, like I said, no one talks about the halving. No one cares about the halving. When was the last time you actually saw someone talk about the halving? No one really talks about Bitcoin's diminishing emissions. No one talks about a supply crunch because of the halving. No one talks about anything to do with the halving. It's all ETF based. It's all institutional demand based. It's all chart based. No one really seems to care anymore about the halving, where previously, obviously, cycles were built around the halving, because that's, typically where you would get demand from, because it was the idea that it's going to become more scarce and there's less output from sellers, from the miners selling. Now it's just obviously how much can the ETFs buy in it, really. How much can DATs buy? So yeah, it's quite interesting. We have got US Open in 10 minutes. I'm going to close the poll at the moment. 71% with up. Wow. Do make sure you get a like on as well. I've only got 12 likes. Come on, people. You can do much better than that. We can do much, much better than that. Come on now. But yeah, Bitcoin's just kind of chugging away. We've not really got anything so far, have we, since that push up? It's just kind of hanging around. We have got some push down on the last 5-minute candle, but it's holding around there. I do fancy a run towards yearly open if we're gonna get one, kind of a run into a key level. Thanks, Ravi. I appreciate it. I appreciate your input. Thank you very much. Asking some good questions in the chat, giving some good conversation. If anyone obviously wants to ask any questions in the chat, go for it. What's Borgie doing? That's had a bit of a rebirth. This thing has been flying. I've seen this thing getting a lot of attention. What is Bitcoin Cash doing? This thing, very interesting, isn't it? This thing is just like held up very, very well. I mean, this is very interesting because there shouldn't really actually be like any sort of need for this to be as high as it is. So it's quite interesting that it is. Yeah. Fascinating. Gold looks good also. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, people will lead you to believe that gold means anything for Bitcoin when it doesn't really mean anything at all. It doesn't mean anything for Bitcoin at all. The only thing it means for Bitcoin is obviously when people call it digital gold and that. The gold chart doesn't mean anything for Bitcoin whatsoever. In my opinion, anyway. But gold looks good for new highs, doesn't it? Gold looks good for new highs. Still green on the weekly as well. Green on the hourly. Bitcoin making a push. Yeah, it'd be nice to see it push towards yearly open. If it can. Yeah, we've got 7 minutes to go until US Open. Covered a lot. We've covered a lot on stream. We've covered a hell of a lot on stream. Do let me know if you want me to run through anything else. So dollar is weakening again if gold is up, or is it just anticipation? Let's have a look at the dollar. I mean, obviously the typical thing is that dollar up is obviously risk off, and obviously not ideal for markets. Now, the markets are in a really interesting time because you've got just gold on an absolute crazed run, but also we haven't really had any kind of proper risk-off signals, even with the dollar pushing up since the end of September-ish, mid-September. The markets really haven't gone risk-off. I mean, the S&P, yes, it's had a pullback, but again, this is just like a routine pullback, isn't it? Like, it's a couple of percent. From the top there down, we pulled back 6%. Like, that's not even like anything you can say, whoa, crashed or anything, is it? It's literally 6%. It's nothing. And it's already, recouped most of it and not that far away from highs. If you look at gold, a lot of that time that the DXY was pushing up mid-September, gold went on its kind of blow-off move before its pullback, just relentlessly up, didn't it? It's just kind of like the markets are really, unless this thing really starts pushing up, like it basically needs to reclaim $100 in it, kind of to 101-ish. I mean, above $100 was quite a pivotal. 101 was basically the key level. Of the past kind of 6 months, it's been 100. But unless this really starts pushing up like pretty aggressively to kind of back towards 110, I just think the markets are in such a strange situation where they just don't really care. Apart from Bitcoin, of course, where we've got weakness because of kind of solely inside the industry, games and stuff like that. The general markets, either stock market, gold, silver, they don't really they just don't care. They just don't seem to care. It's just up only. Thank you very much. So yeah, unless the dollar really starts getting some like strong rally on it, I don't really think it means anything, to be honest. And you've always got the case of strong DXY, risk off, but I don't think we've really got a strong DXY at the moment yet. Anyway. But look at Bitcoin go. There it is. Blowing up, isn't it? Blowing higher. Look at it go. Sol pushing up nicely. ETH pushing up nicely. Everything pushing up nicely. Yes. Yeah, this is pushing up nice. We are approaching the yearly open, though. So we're approaching these two key areas of liquidity now. So let's see what happens if we can get like a proper squeeze on open. Can we get a proper squeeze on open? Got 50 seconds. Let's go back down towards the 5-minute chart. That is nice, yeah. So let's see what happens if we reclaim the yearly open. I think we're heading towards 96, 97. If not, then we'll see. We have got 10 seconds. Oh, tell you what. There we go. We're open for the US market. We got Oh, strong push down on Bitcoin there. Strong push down indeed. Strong push down indeed on open. Nothing major. What's the S&P doing on open? This sold off into open, snapped back a little bit. Interesting so far. Yeah, not had major movement, have we? We have only got a couple hours as well of this today before the US market shuts for half day. But yeah, so far we haven't really got anything to shout about. Just kind of US Open, small up and down. If anyone hasn't liked, please do drop a like. Of course, if you're new around here, subscribe as well. Do remember, we've got 50% off Stonksy Annual. If you are looking to join us, you do get full indicator, oscillator, Discord access, all that good stuff, trading bot access as well. 50% off the annual, which is this plan, which takes it down to just under £500 for the whole year. Now, of course, that means that you've got a whole entire year to at least make £500 with Stonksy to get your money back. A whole year to make just £500 back, and then you've got your money back, and then everything else is just profit. So whether you go slow and take your time, whether you like to trade in your spare time or whatever, that gives you a whole entire year of utilizing Stonksy and the community as well to make your money back, which is just obviously a fantastic deal. So you won't find a bigger deal than that on Stonksy for the whole year. So now is your time to act. If you do want to join, link is in the description, code is in the description. You know what to do. Annual plan. Pretty flat open though, isn't it? Really, pretty flat open. A bit of a bounce between a couple of $100, like $500. Oh, okay. What's this doing? So the S&P is actually ripping quite hard. If you're wondering what this is on the S&P here, the CME was offline. The CME went offline, so that's the reason why you just got loads of flat candles there on the S&P. But the S&P is pushing up quite nicely. Really nice 5-minute candle on the S&P. It's quite interesting. Leading into open, we had like opposite on the S&P and Bitcoin, didn't we? We had S&P weakness leading into a strong open, where on Bitcoin we had strength leading into a weak open. Quite interesting. If we can hold around these levels, this gives a nice chance for a proper test of the early open, which, yeah, you know, I think will then lead to either a strong rejection, or if we get above, obviously the path, maybe even over the weekend, in towards 96, 97. So we just have to see what comes first. Well, what actually comes, if we get a proper test of it or not. But apart from that, this is obviously good conditions for alts. You know, Pump's moving up a bit more. Solana and ETH have moved quite nicely during that. XRP, Hype is moving well today. This thing has been on like a really solid ripper on it this week. Tau's moving up back quite nicely. Things are kind of just chugging along all right. MSTR up 4%, Coinbase up 2.6, Circle up 2.7. What's Bitmain doing? Up 6. This thing has had a good push up, to be fair. This is up over about 20%, isn't it? Since its lows. Maybe even a bit more. Yeah, this thing is pushed up nicely. Last Friday. Yeah, it's had a good push up. Yeah, 34%. If you bought anywhere in and around last Friday. Very nice. We haven't even cleared that wick out yet on Bitcoin. I'm going to highlight that wick. We haven't even cleared that wick out yet. Never mind the yearly open. I mean, look at that. I was ever so close, but we haven't even cleared that. Front run it by about $70. And we are, yeah, we're not looking bad, I don't think, but we're definitely not really moving, are we? Let me know in the chat, what's everyone doing this weekend? Oh, anyone got anything nice going on? What you up to? Do let me know. Do let me know. Kind of teetering off a bit on Bitcoin now. I will not let you forget it if we do. Oh yeah. Pushing down now. Not let me forget what. If we do what. Yeah, I think TradFi seems to still be asleep, doesn't it? TradFi still seems to be asleep. Not really a whole lot of movement. We have come down now. I mean, this is obvious. That's where basically 93k is where we opened the candle, and we are slowly dropping down. That's a shame. Kind of front running that yearly open test. If we don't get a proper test on that, and that was kind of the spike, that would be a great shame. I mean, look at the state of that candle, yeah. Yeah, we're not really getting much more, are we? We're just slowly dropping down. Do remember as well, today is the last day of the month for TradFi too. Obviously, it's a half day, but it's the last day of the month. We have got monthly close on Sunday, and then the 1st of December on Monday. Can you believe it? 1st of December on Monday. Do you know what that means? On Monday's stream, we get this on for the whole month, or at least until the run up into the last stream before Christmas. Well prepared. Gonna get Christmas songs on as well for the whole stream. We'll get Christmas songs on. Yeah, should be fun. So be excited. The streams should be really good through December. So I'm excited. And we are putting in a bit of a Christmas tree pattern on Bitcoin now, aren't we, as well? So there's that. Yeah, the S&P hitting the downside now as well. So we've had a sell-off. Start of open, we've had a sell-off. First 6 minutes or so. 11 minutes. 6 minutes. 11 minutes. First 11 minutes. Sell-off. Let's have a little refresh. Let's see if there's anything going on X. Is there anything going on? No. See what TMG's been tweeting. Uh, 56% chance Trump nominates Kevin Hassett as the next Fed chair. TMG's bought 2 Bitcoin. Look at that. 2 Bitcoin. Bang. Done. Filled. There's me. Yeah. Really good stuff. We're looking like we could go into a pullback now, potentially. Doesn't seem like anyone's doing anything on the weekend, no. What am I doing? What am I doing on the weekend? Not a lot, to be fair. Kind of the same as you guys. Not a lot. Not really doing anything. Yeah, not really doing anything, to be fair. Just usual weekend. I feel like I had something to do on Sunday, but I don't think I do. Are you gonna match TMG's buy? No. I'm not, unfortunately. Anyone that does, make sure you post in the Discord though. Say I've matched you. I think we will now continue to go up. I mean, we've had a sell-off on open, dump on open. We've got two options, haven't we? We either just carry on dumping or we reverse. You got to remember, though, as well, it is the last day of the month for TradFi, so any business that they want to do before the end of the month is going to be crammed into 4 hours because it's only half a day. So if there is any ETF offloading and rebalancing for November, it's going to be done within the next few hours. While obviously TradFi is open before it shuts again. So that is obviously the thing to bear in mind, as well as if the ETFs are going to do any rebalancing, it's going to come fast and crammed into, obviously, if they've not done it already. They've obviously had the lead up to do, but if there's any final movements or anything, they haven't got the whole session to do it. They've just got a few hours, and we are selling off pretty aggressively. So if you did short the open, congratulations. Yeah, that's pretty aggressive sell-off, down over a K since open was at 93K on open, basically. So just over a K down on open, which I assume is probably, as you would expect, reflected in the altcoin prices. But it could be quite a quiet day. Now, obviously, we're selling off now, but in general, we didn't have anything yesterday, did we? While TradFi was shut, basically all of yesterday. We come up initially, obviously late Wednesday into early Thursday, through Asia time. But then yesterday was just literally just spent ranging. So there we go, getting a little snapback on the 5 minute now. Little snapback. You shorted 92.5. Well done, mate. Well done. Nice. You think it's possible we start to define a range between here? Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's definitely possible, because you have, if you actually, if you bear in mind, this is yearly open, but if you actually look at the price action around it as well, obviously, just the fact it's the yearly open is a key level. But obviously, if you look at how Bitcoin behaved on the way down, it was used as support, and then we rejected in and around this area. Give or take a couple $100 is going to be stacked with price action and people stepping into the market. So I think kind of, if you just take it as a block like that rather than just a singular level, this is definitely the key pivot point. I think obviously here is good for liquidity, but in terms of a zone on the chart where you want it to reclaim, it's there. So you definitely could, and yeah, at some point, this has been a great push up, but at some point, whether it's from here, whether it's from a bit higher, whether we come up and take this first and then deviate back down, but at some point, we're going to get a higher low put in, aren't we? Now, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking these lows here look good for the taking. They look good for the taking. For me, anyway, they look good for the taking. So I am going to anticipate a higher low coming in, just anywhere in and around kind of 85. That's just my personal view. We may not get it, but I look at the chart and I think, this was a strong push up. There's plenty of inefficiency to fill in there in terms of a fair value gap as well. And I look at it and I think them lows look like they need clearing up. And obviously, in terms of a pullback, whether it's from here or not, but a drop down here, people get really bearish again, thinking that it's over. But all we're doing is we're setting a higher low, high somewhere, higher low. Okay, shifting market structure, higher. That would be kind of my thinking around it. And again, don't know where it comes in. It may not come in and around there. We may push up higher, and then it may come in. Possibly put in one maybe around there, depending on how high we push up. But obviously, at some point, we'll get a pullback, and the pullback will probably be for buying, in my opinion. So it's just whether where we pull back from and where we pull back to. But yeah, I think definitely you could definitely build up a range here with that as well. That would obviously give some nice price action back in towards the mid to low 80s, wouldn't it? And then back up again into the 90s, and then some point obviously break above, and then maybe go time. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at and thinking as well. Hi, I'm interested with Stonksy yearly plan. Does it include buy call as well? What do you mean? Does it include buy call? So I don't know what you mean by that. Does it include buy call as well? What it gets you is it gets you full indicator access, indicator access, oscillator access, Discord access, and trading bot access. We run trading bots on BLOFIN. It gets you access to all that for a year. So the indicator, the oscillator, the Discord server, and the trading bots. What do you mean by does it include buy call as well? Let me know about that. If you want to ask any kind of in-depth questions, you can email us as well. I'll drop the email for that. If you want to ask anything in particular, because I'm not going to be on stream for that much longer, but get any questions, let me know what you mean in the chat. But yeah, if you do want to get it, obviously it's only got a few more days left on it, so obviously now is your chance. And yeah, it's code BLACK50 at checkout on the website on the annual plan. Obviously, you can find a link to that in the description. I'll just throw the link to that page in the chat as well now for you. But it's called BLACK50 in capitals in the discount code box at checkout. It'd be great to have you. Anyone else as well? Anyone wanting to join DFAN? It'd be great to have you all. Anyone that's been thinking about it, obviously now is a good time. Like I said before, you get it for just under £500, and you've got a whole year to obviously make that back as a minimum. Minimum, obviously, make £500. You've made your money back that you invested into it across a whole year. So even if you didn't want to rush into anything, or you wanted to kind of mess about with the indicator first, remember you've got a whole year to minimum make £500 back, and then you're at break even, and then anything after that is pure profit, isn't it? So when you think about it like that, in terms of a full year, it's an insane deal. But yeah, DFAN, let me know in the chat, mate. Let me know in the chat. Or, yeah, drop an email in. I've dropped the email there. Drop an email in. Otherwise, yeah, you know where to you know where to obviously come and get it before the discount runs out. Getting a nice reversal on Bitcoin now, lower time frame. Obviously, dump on open. That has held up with the past 2 5-minute candles. We are now beginning to obviously push back up a little bit. So, looking good so far. But yeah, that's everything from me for this week. Do remember, I am only streaming Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays now, because in the coming weeks, I'm going to put out more video content and shift focus to making some really good videos. So I'm only streaming 3 days a week now. If you do want more of me, of course you can come into the Discord again by joining Stonksy. But yeah, that's everything. Thank you for joining. DFAN, if you need any other questions answering, drop an email in, mate. Otherwise, I'll obviously see you when you signed up and in the Discord. You can ask me anything there. And for anyone else, drop a like, subscribe, of course. Join Stonksy. But if you're looking to trade crypto or stocks or gold, you can join BLOFIN. If you're looking to trade the latter, join Prime XBT. It's in the description. And I'll see you all then. Have a great weekend. Have a great Friday. And I'll catch you all on Monday. Bye for now.